Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming with the second video today. This video is a breakdown of what's going on in training camp so far. We're going to look at this like it's stocks. Buy low, sell high, stock up, or stock down. At first, I'm going to give y'all the guys that you need to go ahead and sell while it's at its highest because their stock is going down. And then after that, I'm going to tell you the guys to buy low because their stock is about to go up. And it's like specific things too. It's not even just a player. It's stocks on specifically what the player will or will not do. You'll see. It's very fun. I'm probably going to continue to do this throughout the off season every now and then, maybe even through the regular season, so you can know which way certain players or certain specific things are trending. Again, it's not just the player. It's what a player will specifically do or will not do. And this is the first week of padded practices, so things look very different. Some guys that look good without the pads don't look as good with them, and some guys that didn't look too good without the pads look way better with them. And remember, padded practices are the closest things to actual real NFL games. Everything that happened that first week was cool, but now with fully padded practices and real contact, now we truly get to see who's good or not. So this is the moment to really pay attention to what's going on in Washington football team training camp, and I'm gonna break down exactly who you should be buying or selling stock on. But before we do that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Also, you make sure you check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a funny playlist for all of my funny videos, and you can even check out my video I released earlier breaking down all of the new fan policies for Burgundy and Gold fans. Tailgating, wearing masks, is it required or not, wearing Native American themed items, and FedEx Field going cashless. Make sure you go check that out. But in the meantime, without further ado, let me stop wasting y'all time. Let's get it. All right, like I said, we're going to start with the stock down. And right now, if you have Taylor Heinicke starting stock, you need to sell it. Taylor Heinicke will not be starting week 1. And depending on how well Ryan Fitzpatrick plays, don't expect Taylor Heinicke to start at any point this season. Now, he even admitted himself that he doesn't practice very well. And he looked really good mandatory mini camps. He looked good early on, before they had the padded practices and training camp, but lately it looks like Ryan Fitzpatrick is the better quarterback. From everything I'm seeing and hearing from pretty much everybody, Taylor Heinicke right now is literally just competing for the backup spot. It's just between him and Kyle Allen for that. It's already assumed Ryan Fitzpatrick will be the starter. It's honestly not a real competition. They've given Taylor Heinicke reps with the ones against the first team defense and everything. He just hasn't looked as good as a Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm rooting for Taylor Heinicke, but right now there just seems to be a gap between him and Ryan Fitzpatrick. And it's crazy because Ryan Fitzpatrick is the newer quarterback when it comes to like chemistry with receivers and things like that. Like Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing a better job of throwing the ball to Terry Mclaurin than Taylor Heinicke. Not even just like Adam Humphries, because of course Ryan Fitzpatrick, Adam Humphries chemistry was just going to be unmatched immediately. But like Ryan Fitzpatrick is delivering the ball to Logan Thomas better than Taylor Heinicke has been. And again, Taylor Heinicke was here since last year, threw a couple of passes to Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, so he had a slight advantage as far as that goes, and he had a huge advantage as far as knowing the playbook. But again, Ryan Fitzpatrick is just outperforming him right now. I reiterate, Ryan Fitzpatrick is the clear-cut starter, and it's gotten to the point where Taylor Heinicke is literally just competing against Kyle Allen to see who wins that first backup role. Also, Sammis Reyes' chances of making the 53-man roster, I'm not gonna lie, this one hurt my soul. Out of all the sales, this is easily the one that hurt me the most by far. It's not even close. If you have Sammis Reyes making 53-man roster stock, I would definitely advise selling it now before it plummets. Salvage whatever value you can get, man, for 2 reasons. First of all, and we're going to talk about this in the buy section, other linebackers are just balling out. Now, granted, Sammis Reyes is ahead of schedule. Sammis Reyes looks better as of August 4th, better than I thought he would look on August 4th a few months ago when we first got him. So he's ahead of schedule, but he's still behind quite a few guys. But most importantly, secondly, with the injury that he sustained, even if it's not that bad, they're probably just going to go ahead and put him on the injury reserve so that they can keep the other tight ends who are better than him as of right now, and they don't have to risk putting them on the practice squad and somebody else taking them or just releasing them, you know what I'm saying? So the smart chess move right now is no matter what, even if Sammis Reyes just has a cold, it would be smart to put him on the injured reserve, let him develop some more, and then be ready to throw him out there once that certain amount of weeks that you have to stay on the injured reserve ends. Maybe by then he'll be ready to go out there and be that deadly tight end that I believe he can truly become. It's going to take time, and so this injury is really like a way out for the Washington football team. It makes their decision easier. Another stock down, man. If you have Dax Milne making an immediate impact on this team, go ahead and sell that stock. Because honestly, at this point, with the way everybody else is impressing and making big plays and being noticeable, I haven't heard much from Dax Milne. And when I did, it's been solid plays, nice catches, but he's been the least talked about receiver on this team easily. So even if he is having a pretty decent camp, I'm just not expecting him to, first of all, make the 53-man roster. And then if he somehow does, which again, I doubt, because it seems like Deandre Carter, Adam Humphries, and maybe even Steven Sims are having a better camp than him, and they're all slot receivers that have returner potential and experience. That's literally Dax Milne's niche on this team. Slot receiver that can return as well. Those are three guys ahead of him right now having a better offseason than him at literally those two things. So first of all, I don't expect them to have an immediate impact at all. Maybe not even in this first season at all. And then also on top of that, I'm not even sure if he makes a 53-man roster. He may end up on the practice squad, and then who knows, somebody may take him from us. I really like Dax Milne. I love his potential. I really hope they find a way to keep him, but it's looking ugly right now. With the way this roster is constructed, we are no longer in rebuild mode, so they're not going to err on the side of the younger guy that needs development. They're going to go with the guy that's out there producing more right now, even if it is Adam Humphries, who you can maybe label injury prone. He's also one of only 2 receivers on this roster that are older than 25, him and Deandre Carter. But again, they're out there producing right now. They have great chemistry with their projected starting quarterback and Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's who's going to make the team. Another sale. And this is the one that made me the happiest. If you have any stock on Jon Bostic's chances of starting, go ahead and sell it. You know, last year in training camp, he barely played much Mike linebacker then as well. And then when the regular season came, he went right back to starting at Mike. And that's just because nobody was able to dethrone him. Thomas Davis wasn't what he used to be. Cole Holcomb wasn't ready. I don't think Cole Holcomb will ever be a Mike linebacker ever. Kevin Pierre-Louis wasn't. So just by default, Jon Bostic ended up starting again. But now, and we'll talk about the linebacker group in the bye section, with the way that they're looking out there, specifically Jamin Davis, it looks like we finally have a guy that's ready to step up and take over that Mike linebacker role. Again, I'm not saying it's very unlikely that Jon Bostic starts, but this is definitely the lowest Jon Bostic starting at Mike linebacker stock has been for this team since we signed him. Easily. It's not even close. Again, don't be surprised if week 1 he is starting, but this is easily the lowest this stock has ever been. And then lastly, probably the one that hurt me the second most, only behind Sammis Reyes potentially not being on a 53-man roster. If you have St. Juste starting at outside corner early on, you may want to sell that stock. Not gonna lie. Now, he looks really good out there. He's out there making plays that other guys can't. You just can't teach 6'3". You can't teach that length. And it's really hard, especially for somebody as young as he is, teach his type of instincts and ability to read plays and know what's going to happen before it happens. But he does have a weakness for getting beat deep, which is why I think he'll definitely get a nice amount of reps and snaps and minutes early on, even like week 1. But I don't see him necessarily dethroning Kendall Fuller just yet. Again, I think he'll start at outside corner, maybe even slot corner some plays, especially depending on the matchup. But we need somebody to cover like the bigger receivers like Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, all of those type of guys. That will be Benjamin St. Juste's moment. But as of right now, Kendall Fuller and William Jackson are easily just 2 starting outside corners. I want Kendall Fuller back in the slot because I'm going to keep saying it. He's a good outside corner. He's an elite slot corner, so you're getting the most out of him when he's in the slot. But right now, St. Juste, with him getting beat deep so often, which is like literally his only weakness, kind of like Ronald Darby. He's basically just 6'3" longer Ronald Darby. I would almost go to say that he's probably even better than what Ronald Darby was last year. But at the same time, if you want your 2 best and most dependable corners out there on the field at any given time, it's still William Jackson and Kendall Fuller. But again, that's not to say that Benjamin St. Juste doesn't take over that second outside corner role from Kendall Fuller at some point this season. Just don't bet on it being very early on, especially week 1. We still have a few more weeks of training camp, some preseason games we'll see, but as of right now, that stock's not looking too good. Maybe that's a hold. Maybe we'll just hold on that. Don't buy any more if you don't have it. maybe don't sell it if you already have it. This may just be a hold. We'll just wait and see on this, but I'm definitely less confident in this stock than I was coming out of mandatory mini camps. And then lastly, if you have stock in Bobby McCain or Jeremy Reeves playing a lot, you may want to sell that as well. And I'm going to talk about that in greater detail when we get to the buy section. But as of right now, Bobby McCain and Jeremy Reeves just aren't on the field a lot when they run with the ones. And you know, Rivera and company, they said that they're going to mix up all of the personnel groups as much as possible, like third stringers playing with the ones, rotating everybody in and out, no matter the position. So that's why Jeremy Reeves and Bobby McCain have been out there. But like when they take practice seriously and when it's Chase Young and Montez Sweat out there, Bobby McCain and Jeremy Reeves aren't out there that much. And again, we're going to talk about it in the buy section, but it's starting to look like they may just go with Landon Collins and Cameron Curl out there starting, bring Bobby McCain in when they need a single high free safety depending on the situation, and then Jeremy Reeves will just come out there because he's making plays in camp. But neither of them are just out there doing what Landon Collins and Cameron Curl are doing out there right now. And I'm surprised by Landon Collins because Landon Collins is having a way better camp than I'm pretty sure anybody thought he would, even him. First of all, I didn't think he would even be healthy enough to play week 1 of the regular season. Now, not only is he playing in training camp, but he's out there looking like a Pro Bowl version of himself again. According to a lot of reports, what I'm seeing in clips, everything. Landon Collins is out there balling. So Bobby McCain, Jeremy Reeves, I'm sorry, even though Cameron Curl and Landon Collins, neither of them are true free safeties, they just love what they bring to the table so much in their playmaking ability that they're just like, man, we'll bring in a free safety when we absolutely need one. But other than that, we're going to roll with these two right here. Now moving to the stock up section. What stock you should buy before it rises up and you can capitalize on this gain. First up, if you don't have stock in this already, you need to go buy it. Ryan Fitzpatrick's chemistry with the receivers and tight ends are far ahead of schedule. I mean, you would think he was the quarterback for this team last year, the way he's been getting the ball to Logan Thomas and Terry McLaurin with ease. I mean, they're doing things where it's like they just have chemistry and rapport already. It's like they know what each other's already thinking. Ryan Fitzpatrick knows exactly when and where to throw the ball to Terry McLaurin deep down the field along the sideline to where only Terry McLaurin can get it. Ryan Fitzpatrick already knows the exact spot to put it where only Logan Thomas can come down with the ball in the red zone. And they've been doing it several times. Not even like it's just been a flash in the pan happen once. Ryan Fitzpatrick has had great chemistry with these receivers over and over again. You already know the chemistry he has with Adam Humphries is unmatched. I mean, there was one day in practice where literally nobody could stop the Ryan Fitzpatrick to Adam Humphries connection until like Cameron Curl just had enough of it and stopped one play himself, batted down the ball. But until that point, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Adam Humphries was money. It was automatic. Like I already said earlier with the Taylor Heinicke stock that you need to sell, Ryan Fitzpatrick is clearly the starter, and it even seems like it. Just the leadership on the field. He's been super endorsed by Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin had a recent interview somewhere, and he was just speaking so highly of Ryan Fitzpatrick. And he was talking about how excited he is to just go ahead and go out there and win some games with Ryan Fitzpatrick as the quarterback. And if Terry McLaurin endorses you, then you're set. Because whatever Terry says goes right now. Terry McLaurin, Chase Young, maybe a couple other names in there are the team. If Terry McLaurin wants Ryan Fitzpatrick starting their quarterback, well then that's who's starting their quarterback. But again, the stock is specifically Ryan Fitzpatrick's chemistry with the receivers and Logan Thomas, because that stock was really low. Nobody expected him to have this much chemistry and rapport, that he does already. Nobody expected it to happen this early. I was thinking there may even be some bumps in the road a couple of weeks into the regular season, but it looks like they're already clicking and already super tight with each other. Terry McLaurin has already talked about how happy he is that Ryan Fitzpatrick will just throw it up and let him make a play. And he's so elated that he finally has a quarterback that will do that for him. So Terry McLaurin, if anything, is all in on Fitzpatrick. And if he is, you need to buy that stock like right now. Stop watching this video, buy Ryan Fitzpatrick stock because it's about to skyrocket. Next up, Samuel Cosmi and padded practices. I know that stock is really low right now because during mandatory mini camps, he was getting bullied. But people kept saying, like Mitch Tisler and a few other people were saying, that it's really hard for an offensive lineman to do what they need to do and to be a consistent blocker while there's no pads. You can't really get hands on guys. There's not much to grab. You can't be as aggressive as you want to. And especially a guy like a Samuel Cosmi, where literally his whole game is predicated on his athleticism, his strength, and things like that. He needed pads so he could just not get bullied out there any longer. And now that we have padded practices, it's almost day and night. Samuel Cosmi still may not be the day one starter, still may be Cornelius Lucas over him, but he looks way better in padded practices than he ever did in mandatory mini camps and early training camp before we added the pads. But it's interesting though, because even since Cornelius Lucas has come back, Samuel Cosmi has been getting the most time with the first team O-line. Not sure how much to read into that, because maybe they're just throwing him out there as much as possible to see, like, okay, let's see if you can handle it. If you can't, we gave you plenty of opportunities, so now you know why Cornelius Lucas is starting over you. So we'll see. But since Monday, since we've been doing padded practices, he's been actually holding his own against Chase Young over the course of several reps. It's not even like a one-play thing. He's actually been doing a really good job against Chase Young. Then he had to deal with Montez Sweat, and he held his own against him as well. He said he's tired of getting bullied. We have padded practices now. I'm going to do what I do best. So if you don't have Samuel Cosmi's effectiveness in pad stock yet, you better go get it, because he may not start week 1, but he's definitely going to start some point this season and probably very early on. Next up, man, you better buy some stock in Jaret Patterson's audition during the preseason. First of all, he already looks really good in training camp. Several different reporters have been basically salivating over how explosive, quick, and decisive he looks, how good his vision is, just how much further ahead in his development that he is than people expected at this point. And then just imagine when preseason comes, they're not going to play Antonio Gibson much at all. They don't want to risk him getting hurt again. So Jaret Patterson is about to have his moment to shine. I mean, I felt like even if Antonio Gibson were 100% healthy and never had a previous injury like turf toe, I still feel like Jaret Patterson, with him playing with the backups against backup defenses in preseason, oh, he's gonna eat up. I mean, he's gonna look like a star out there. He's about to look like, why are we starting Antonio Gibson? But of course, when you come back to reality, Antonio Gibson is definitely the better running back. But after him, J.D. McKissic is a great receiving back, and Peyton Barber can get you that 1 yard that you need, but Jaret Patterson may be the best all-around back other than Antonio Gibson. So that Jaret Patterson in the preseason stock, boy, you better get it. I'm not necessarily saying he's going to have a huge impact in the regular season, especially early on, but in the preseason, if there were a fantasy football preseason, you would have to take Jaret Patterson in the first round, I'm telling you. Then next up, if you don't have stock in Logan Thomas having a Pro Bowl level season, you're late. You're real late. What are you doing? Logan Thomas is about to go dumb diddly crazy this year. The way he's looked in the red zone, he's uncoverable. It doesn't matter if 6'3" Benjamin St. Juste on him. It doesn't matter if William Jackson, a top 10 corner who I feel like is going to play like a top 5 corner this year, is on him. Ryan Fitzpatrick knows exactly where to throw it to where only Logan Thomas can get it, and Logan Thomas gets it almost every time. I mean, it's crazy how much chemistry Ryan Fitzpatrick and Logan Thomas already have together. It just doesn't look like Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing with the Miami Dolphins last year. It looks like him and Logan Thomas just been together for the past few years. Now, granted, Ryan Fitzpatrick loved throwing to Mike Gesicki last year, and Logan Thomas, you could definitely say, is a better version of Mike Gesicki. So I know Ryan Fitzpatrick is having all kinds of fun, because with all of those great receivers on the outside taking the lid off of the defense, Logan Thomas is going to be wide open underneath a lot. And it's already been happening in training camp. Even with our defense that's supposedly going to be the best in the NFL, at least top 3, Logan Thomas is still open underneath, because you got to worry about so many potent, explosive running backs, receivers, and even other tight ends on this team. You can't focus on Logan Thomas because you got to worry about Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissic. And those are just basically the starters. Even the guys behind them are explosive and have a lot of potential to them. And again, Logan Thomas and Ryan Fitzpatrick already have chemistry like it's week 8 in the regular season. And then also on top of that, Logan Thomas should have went to the Pro Bowl last year anyway. Like, if Evan Ingram made it, Logan Thomas had very comparable stats, had better stats in certain ways, and he's a better overall tight end. He can block better than Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is pretty much just purely a receiving tight end. Logan Thomas can block well, and he kept up with Evan Ingram in a lot of statistics in receiving as well. So I'm just not understanding how he didn't make the Pro Bowl last year, and I'm also not understanding how he wouldn't make it this year, because he's only going to get better. He got his big payday. He's about to go cash in and show y'all why he deserved it. And he may be Ryan Fitzpatrick's most dependable target, because Adam Humphries, I'm not depending on him to play a full 16-game season. I'm just not. And Logan Thomas is going to be that security blanket for Ryan Fitzpatrick to not do those boneheaded plays that we're expecting out of him. And when we get to the red zone, unless Cam Sims steps up even bigger than I think he is, I think Cam Sims is going to be pretty good. But right now, I think Logan Thomas is our #1 red zone threat. So Logan Thomas is going to be a great get in fantasy leagues as well. buy that stock early now. If you don't have Logan Thomas stock, get it. Also, I know this stock is super low right now because this is one of the best kept secrets on the team, but somehow Tamrick Hemingway is potentially second on the depth chart right now in tight ends. Right now, he's currently ahead of John Bates and of course Sammis Reyes and also Ricky Seals-Jones, who's a little beat up, so he hasn't had as many chances to go out there and ball out like the rest of the tight ends. But still, even when Ricky Seals-Jones has been healthy and has been out there, Tamrick Hemingway is only second to Logan Thomas right now. From several reports and clips I've seen, Tamrick Hemingway is having one of the best camps out of any player, out of any position on this team. He's going to be a pleasant surprise. I didn't even think he was going to make the team. Now it looks like he may be our second best tight end, at least early on. I think John Bates is going to eventually grow into a great tight end. I mean, I think that just from watching film, but if Chris Cooley and Zach Ertz love you and feel like you have a lot of potential and can see you translating well into the NFL, then who am I to go against it? And then Sammis Reyes has all of the athleticism in the world and is ahead of schedule. He just needs to get healthy and develop some more. So I think he's going to be great as well. But as of right now, it's looking like Logan Thomas and Tamrick Hemingway, which again is crazy because last year when we saw Tamrick Hemingway, we brought him off the practice squad, gave him some opportunities. He looked bad. We put him right back on the practice squad. I don't know what's happened since then, but it looks like a completely different guy out there. Next up, the receiving group as a whole. You gotta buy that stock right now. This receiving group, man, from last year to this year, night and day. That's why this stock is so low. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of, neutral analysts, those ESPN guys, some of those Bleacher Report guys, some of those Fox Sports guys that don't really pay attention to every NFL team with a microscope, they just look at the surface. I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there still feel like our receiving core is trash. They probably still feel like it's the one we had last year. But honestly, the receiving group is going to go from one of our biggest weaknesses to honestly our biggest strength. Like, you can literally argue after defensive line, which is the best in football. We literally have the #1 defensive line in football. So of course, by default, that's the best strength on our team. You could definitely say wide receiver is the second biggest strength on this team. Maybe even ahead of like the potential secondary, the potential linebacker group that we have, the potential offensive line, even the running back group. You could say this receiving core, especially the way they've looked in training camp so far, may be our second biggest strength, which is wild because 8 months ago, you would have never been able to convince me that that was a thing. But apparently it's really real life right now, and you gotta buy that stock now while it's still low, because again, other than Burgundy and Gold fans and reporters, I don't think anybody else realizes that we have this great secret on our team, that this receiving core is about to be nasty. So I know league-wide, that stock is like at an all-time low right now. Again, a lot of other people just don't pay attention to our team, especially since we haven't been winning a lot. We won a division last year, but that's still not enough for random people like Stephen A. Smith to realize that, oh, that Washington football team receiver group is about to be filthy next year. All he knows is last year they were terrible. He's assuming they're terrible going forward. And that's pretty much how most people feel about our receiving core right now. But they're definitely wrong. And so while this stock is down, you better load up on it. And I'm super excited about it because Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel, your obvious 1 and 2. And De'Ami Brown is having a great camp. But as of right now, a lot of people feel like Adam Humphries or Cam Sims are fighting for that 3rd spot. And I'm one of the people that feels like De'Ami Brown's potential is 2nd best receiver. But as of right now, he's probably only the 5th. And you see it in the clips. He's arguably one of the best route runners on our team already. Great hands. But Cam Sims and Adam Humphries are just having that great of camps right now. So De'Ami Brown is honestly 5th right now. That's how great our receiving group is. And then you have Deandre Carter out here as a super surprise. We brought him in to be our primary special teams returner, but now he's out here looking like one of our most explosive slot players. Like, he looks like Steven Sims in him and Dwayne Haskins' rookie season. Like, that's how good he looks. That's how good Deandre Carter looks. He looks like what we wanted Steven Sims to look like last year, but it never came out. And then on top of that, you still have my boy Kelvin Harmon is catching everything thrown his way. I want him to make the team because I feel like he has the best hands on the team, and then he's also becoming a better route runner and separator than he ever was now that he's coming back from that injury. And then you even have Antonio Gandy-Golden, who you could say probably had the best catch of camp. It's between him and Tamrick Hemingway, who have had the best catches so far in training camp. So I don't know. This receiving core, we're going to end up releasing a really good receiver. Like, somebody that we're going to end up cutting is going to be a receiver that, man, I wish we had them last year. Man, if Antonio Gandy-Golden or Kelvin Harmon gets cut, you know how much we needed them last year? And then now they just may be fully healthy and just end up getting cut because the receiving core, they're just that low on the depth chart. That's wild. And then, of course, like, you got to buy stock in the best D-line in football. You got to. Montez Sweat and Chase Young look even better already, and that's crazy to hear because they already look really good, but a lot of the things that they needed to improve on to go from really good to potential Hall of Famers, they're doing it. Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen also look really good. We have Matt Ioannidis back in full effect. Tim Settle's getting better. David Bada is playable. Remember when we first got him, we just brought him in as part of the International Pathway program. Now he's actually looking like a competent defensive lineman. Then you have James Smith-Williams, who's finally healthy, starting to emerge. And rookie William Bradley King is out there making plays as well, tipping passes at the line of scrimmage, getting around offensive linemen easily at times. And then Shaka Toney took on 2 blockers at one time and still almost got to the quarterback. And he's supposed to be the undersized guy that I want to move to Sam linebacker. But he's out here coming off the edge dominating. And if you remember, you could argue last year he was probably Penn State's best defender. With Micah Parsons opting out due to COVID last year, Shaka Toney was probably Penn State's best defensive player. And when he made it to the 7th round when we got him, a lot of draft people were saying that's probably the biggest steal of the draft because he's a great player. He arguably had the best bend in the draft. And then, like I said, I want him to move to Sam linebacker because teams were already getting him to do coverage drills in the Senior Bowl, and he looks pretty decent at coverage already. He's only going to get better, and he's an athletic freak, so the sky's the limit for him. And this is all your defensive line. When we lost Ryan Kerrigan, we were wondering who was going to be the depth. We have great depth. I'm excited about this depth. Even when Chase Young and Montez Sweat need to sit on the sideline for a breather, we have other guys that can go out there and make a play when we need it. Next up, Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, and Khaleke Hudson will take our linebacker group from one of our biggest weaknesses to one of our greatest strengths. If you don't have stock in that yet, you need to get it. Maybe not week 1. Maybe Khaleke Hudson will not be ready week 1 to start. And just maybe Jamin Davis is not actually ready to play Mike linebacker just yet week 1. But if they are, this linebacker group is about to be the best we've had easily since like London Fletcher. Maybe even better than that as a whole, because London Fletcher was great, but this combination of this new and improved Cole Holcomb, who's not only better against the run, but even better against coverage already. He's had a few should-have-been picks already just in training camp. It's only been less than a week and a half. Jamin Davis is out here looking deadly. Ron Rivera loves him, says he can easily step up and be that Luke Kuechly type of linebacker and have that type of leadership and impact on his team as a rookie. Ron Rivera believes in him, and if anybody's belief should make you as a fan believe in a player, is Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio, because not only are they both ex-linebackers, but they've also drafted and coached some of the best linebackers in NFL history. So if they see that greatness in Jamin Davis, we should too. And then Khaleke Hudson's out here making plays. But even better, like the reason that this stock is like super, you might want to go ahead and get it now while it's low, because so far in training camp, it looks like the starting linebacker group is Jamin Davis at Mike, Khaleke Hudson at Will, and Cole Holcomb at Sam. That's like literally who gets most of the reps. So when there's 3 linebackers out there with the first team going against the first team offense, that's usually what it is. So new and improved Cole Holcomb, Jamin Davis potentially being the best linebacker in this draft class that included Micah Parsons. And I think Jamin Davis will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then Khaleke Hudson is finally becoming that guy that we really want him to become. Because if he can't play Buffalo nickel, which is going to be hard for him to do, not because like he's not good at it, but how are you just going to replace Cameron Curl or Landon Collins in any given play? For him to do it, where are Landon Collins and Cameron Curl going to be at? So if we can just get Khaleke Hudson to start at will linebacker and still have Cameron Curl play the Buffalo nickel in any given moment and have both of them on the field at the same time, that is ridiculous versatility. And then speaking of Cameron Curl and Landon Collins, the last stock you need to buy, Cameron Curl and Landon Collins are going to be everywhere in that secondary. I mean, literally everywhere. First of all, Landon Collins has been getting the most snaps out of any safety. Like when it's the first team defense out there, Landon Collins is pretty much guaranteed to be on the field. Cameron Curl gets the second most, and there's a lot of times where it's just Cameron Curl and Landon Collins out there. Cameron Curl playing like somewhat of a free safety role, while Landon Collins is playing a clear-cut, strong safety role. There's occasions where Bobby McCain comes in for Cameron Curl, because he's definitely our rangiest free safety right now. So ideally, if we're like in super coverage mode, like we're up 20 in the fourth, you want Bobby McCain and Cameron Curl on the field as your two safeties. But with the way Landon Collins looks right now, some reporters are saying that he looks like his all-pro Giants version of himself. Like he looks way better right now than he's ever looked for us since we signed him. So it's going to be hard to keep him off the field at any given moment. I mean, he looks better in coverage. He's out here getting interceptions. He had 2 interceptions in one day during practices. I mean, he's just out here making plays. And it's not even like the interception is coming straight to him. He's out here reading the quarterback and going to get the interception. And then one was like a tip drill where he had to make a diving catch that if he wasn't as explosive as he was, he wouldn't have gotten there. So Landon Collins looks to be as great as we'd hope he'd be when we first signed him. And again, where as great as Cameron Curl is, you just can't keep either of them off the field. So maybe you bring in Bobby McCain when we need a rangy free safety. But until then, Cameron Curl and Landon Collins are just too good right now to keep off the field for really any reason. Granted, they've been trying Cameron Curl at free safety. I'm not entirely too confident in that. I feel like Cameron Curl can literally do everything in the secondary: slot corner, cover tight ends, cover running backs, cover slot receivers, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, Buffalo nickel, strong safety, in the box, all of that. But free safety, I don't know. We'll see. But so far, with him playing free safety in camp, he looks great. Again, he's not as rangy as a Bobby McCain, but it looks like he's good enough to where we could actually play Cameron Curl at free safety and Landon Collins a strong safety in base defense, just 1st and 10, first quarter. That's what we're coming out with. Let's see what the offense can do against it. So that's really interesting in itself that Cameron Curl is playing free safety. But either way, again, they're both just too good to keep off the field. So expect them to be on the field a lot and to be everywhere. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Which sell stocks have you already sold before I even made this video? Are you ahead of me? Which buy stocks have you already bought before I made this video? Are you ahead of me in that way as well? Also, which stocks haven't you sold that you need to sell? And which stocks do you need to buy that you haven't bought yet? Please get in the comment section, let me know. And then if you disagree, definitely get in the comment section, let me know if you disagree with any of my points, or if you're disappointed like I am with the Sammis Reyes and Benjamin St. Juste one. That one hurt. Those two hurt. Not to say they'll never be great, but it's just not going to be as soon as I thought it was. And I'm sad about it. I'm not going to lie. But the stocks that we need to buy have me very optimistic that this team will repeat as division champs. I feel like we're destined to do it. This team looks great. But yeah, man, please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. I'm pretty sure you learned something, so you got to leave a like on this video before you dip up out of here. And as always, man, I really appreciate all the support, man. Please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell next to the subscription button. I appreciate everybody that donates to the channel. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now. I'm gonna make it worth y'all money and time. These rookie film sessions are on the way. Remember, channel members get the longer exclusive version, the full length version of my film sessions. So again, I'm gonna make all of my sponsors and all of my channel members feel like it's worth it. So stay tuned for all of that. More equipment on the way, so we're gonna get it looking and sounding better. I'm working on it video by video. These are all just my test runs, really. But I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.